Last time we sewed almost all the way around the body. We attached our two body pieces together and we sewed the ends of our ears, arms, and legs inside that seam. Check and make sure your stitches are nice and small, and then flip your plushie right side out. Now we stuff the inside with polyfill. You'll be surprised by how much actually fits inside your plushie. Now we're going to pin our ears in between our two body pieces of fabric. I can still very faintly see my sewing guideline, so I'm going to use that line to help me figure out where to fold the body pieces over. I need to fold those pieces inside the plushie so that they're invisible when I sew them shut. Think about what we did with the beanbag. It's the same technique, just more complicated because we have ears now. My challenge is going to be to pin this closed and to make sure that my pin goes through the front piece and the part that's folded over, and the ear, and the back folded over piece of fabric. It's really important to check your work. Looking at mine, I'm noticing that the edge of this ear is really close to where I'll be sewing it closed. So I'm going to adjust and repin so that the end of the ear is further inside the plushie and there's no chance that it would accidentally come loose. I'm double checking my work to make sure that I pinned through all the layers, and it looks like I did. I'll repeat this process with the second ear. Just like before, I'll double check and make sure I've pinned through all the layers. Now we're going to work on the middle. I noticed that it's a little bit flat there in the forehead, so I'm going to take some more polyfill and stuff it in to make the forehead more puffy. Now I'm going to fold the frayed edges of my fabric inside my plushie. The folded edges of my fabric match up nicely so I can pin them closed. I'll make sure that I pin through all the layers of fabric when I do. Now it's time to sew. Look on one of your ears, it doesn't matter which one, and find the last stitch that you made when you were sewing your plushie inside out. I used a different colored thread, so it's easy to spot. Got a little black stitch right here. Right next to that stitch that I spotted, I'll poke my needle into the body piece of fabric, then pull my needle back so that the tip pokes out of the body fabric. Before I continue sewing, I need to tie my beginning knot. I can hide this tail later, so I'm not worried about it at the moment. Now I'm going to poke through the ear to the back side, and I want my needle to come out right above where the body piece is folded next to the ear. Watch carefully. Now I'll go into the top of that fold of the body piece and then pull my needle down and poke it back up to make a stitch. Then I'll poke straight through the ear to the front side and try to come out right above where the front of the body piece is folded over the ear. And I'll do the same thing I did on the back. I go into that top folded edge of the body, then bend the needle back so I can poke it out, making a tiny stitch. And again, I'll poke it through to the back. This time I caught the body piece with my needle, so I'll pull my needle back out and try again because I want the needle to come out next to the body, not in the body fabric. Now we go into the back body piece, that folded edge, down, bend back, out. Keep your stitches very small. And we continue this pattern. I'm almost finished with the ear. One more stitch through the corner of the ear right here. Now that I'm done sewing the ear together with the body, I can take out that safety pin so it doesn't get in my way as I continue to sew. As I sew across the gap between the two ears, I'm going to use the same strategy we used while sewing the beanbag closed. It's similar to what we did for the ear, except we don't have to poke it through the ear fabric in between. Poke down into the front of the body and back up. Hop over to the back piece of fabric, go into that folded edge and back up, and tug it tight. Back to the front body piece, down and back up. Hopping over to the back body piece, down and back up. I'll continue this pattern until I get to the other ear. I've made it to the ear so I can take out the middle pin. This is my last opportunity to add any polyfill that I want. I could unpin my ear and stuff a little more polyfill in if I want. My plushie feels pretty good as it is, so I'm not going to add any more. My last stitch comes out on the back side, right next to the ear. So do you remember the pattern that we used before? We go straight through the ear to the front side, and then down into that folded front piece and back up. And now we go back through the ear towards the back. We want our needle to come out right next to that body. We go into the folded body piece and then back up. Now through the ear to the front, into the folded front body piece and back up. And now through the ear to the back, coming out right above that back edge, into the body edge and back up. I'll continue this pattern until I get to the place where my old stitches start. I've stitched past the pin so I can take it out now. With my pin gone, I'm going to make one more stitch and then I'll tie an end knot. For this end knot, I'm going to fish around for a previous stitch. Once I've found one, I'll slide my needle under that stitch and then pull it till I see a loop form, and I'll poke my needle back through the loop and pull it tight. I need to do this a second time so that my knot is secure. I want to hide my green tail of my thread, so I'll poke my needle down into the seam as close to my knot as possible, and I'll squish my plushie and push my needle till it comes out somewhere, in this case the middle of his face. Then I'll pull my needle out and cut off the thread. I can treat other loose threads the same way, except I'll poke my needle in first and then thread the needle. Then push the needle through to pull the loose thread inside the plushie. At this point, your plushie is finished. Great job! That was a big project. Congratulations on such a wonderful accomplishment.